People often compare the sister-in-law to a swan. That's why to many men, the sister-in-law is like a pure white swan, off limits, yet deeply alluring. She shares similarities with one's wife, attractive, youthful, often even prettier, sometimes with a more pleasant personality too. And the man in this story, well, he was no exception, according to what he told me after 5 tarot sessions with my wife. I've pieced the story together like this. He came from a poor countryside and moved to the big city early to build a career. After struggling through hardship and loneliness, he managed to establish himself in a large company with a solid income. Because of his insecurities, his skinny, dark appearance and humble origins, he didn't pursue love until he had achieved some success. All his earlier attempts at dating had ended in failure, or the dreaded friend zone. His wife wasn't exactly a rich princess, but she came from a well-off family in another province. She came to the city for college and stayed after graduating. They met during a company presentation. He was the speaker, she was a cashier for the partner company, and she was instantly drawn to his confidence and life experience. After 6 months of dating, they got married and moved into the house he was still paying off. Haunted by his own feelings of inferiority, he saw marrying a pretty wife, 4 years younger than him, as the luckiest thing in the world. He adored her. Their first 2 years of marriage were a dream, traveling together, always affectionate. She was a bit absent-minded, but he never minded. He chalked it up to her youth and the way her family had spoiled her since childhood. Their happiness peaked when she got pregnant. Their daughter's birth filled him with indescribable joy. Although his wife was clumsy at housework and even childcare, he didn't complain. To him, the fact that she gave him such a precious gift was more than enough. He took care of the house, the baby, and worked hard. He was the model husband and father. Then, just as their child began to take her first steps, everything started to shift. His sister-in-law, a final-year med student, suddenly had to leave her dorm for some reason. Their house had 3 bedrooms, so his wife, naive and princess-like as ever, happily invited her younger sister to live with them. He had no objections. He already liked his sister-in-law quite a bit. She brought a fresh energy into their home. Unlike his wife, who couldn't cook or clean, the sister-in-law was like a fairy tale helper. Her meals suited his taste perfectly, probably because he'd grow used to his wife's inconsistent, sometimes inedible cooking. The house became spotless. She even took it upon herself to organize his closet and iron his shirts. That messy pile of clothes turned into a neatly arranged wardrobe worthy of a CEO. He still loved his wife, still cared for his daughter, and treated them both well. For 2 peaceful years, everything seemed normal. The only difference was that now there were 3 people at the dinner table, and on Women's Day, he'd buy an extra, cheaper gift for the sister-in-law. The biggest event was when she got a job at a major hospital thanks to a family connection. Then one day, as he came home from work, he heard crying. Panicked, he ran upstairs, only to find his sister-in-law, heartbroken. Her longtime college boyfriend had dumped her for someone else. It had nothing to do with him, but her sadness made the house feel gloomy. He began comforting her, talking to her more, sometimes just the 2 of them, sometimes with his wife. It didn't help that his wife disliked going out. Even for coffee or shopping, she preferred ordering delivery. But shopping is often a good distraction for heartbroken girls, so he started going out with his sister-in-law 2 or 3 times a week. They'd buy groceries, walk around, just the 2 of them. He also loved going to the movies. His wife didn't. She hated one-off films, only liked historical dramas or romantic Korean shows. But his sister-in-law? She shared his passion for blockbusters and mind-bending thrillers. At first, all 3 of them went, but his wife soon stopped, leaving the 2 of them to go alone. Somehow, their conversations grew deeper about school, work, parenting, entertainment, travel, and eventually about life, values, perspectives. the kind of talks that lovers usually share. Feelings started to grow, quietly, unspoken, yet undeniable. Neither dared cross the line. Until that night, just once, that one night. His wife and daughter had gone back to her hometown like they often did. It was normal. But that night, it stormed violently. Thunder crashed loudly across the sky. His sister-in-law, terrified of storms, ran out to the living room and turned the TV volume up, trying to drown out the fear. He hadn't gone to bed yet. He sat beside her to comfort her. Slowly, she leaned into his arms. They devoured each other like animals. He had never felt so fulfilled. It was as if this was his first time, his first real passion, and he could sense the same from her. It felt like they had been meant for each other all along, destined to be together, but held back by morality and guilt. After that night, they began secretly seeing each other, anywhere, anytime they could find a gap. They became addicted to each other, madly. In moments of clarity, she would cry. He cried too. They loved his wife, the innocent woman who still had no idea. They tried to stop, multiple times. She even moved out, claiming it was more convenient for work. They blocked each other, went cold turkey. But like two drug addicts, they couldn't resist. The other was the purest, most irresistible fix. They tried over and over, but always came back. He considered divorcing his wife, but he couldn't. He still deeply loved her and their child. Nothing had changed. His heart was simply split in two, half for his family and half for her. The sister-in-law felt the same. She loved her sister deeply, but couldn't leave him either. She once said that if she had to live without him, she would kill herself. And he believed her. She wasn't the type to speak carelessly. Then, the inevitable happened. He came for the first tarot reading with my wife when the sister-in-law had been pregnant for over a month. They didn't know whether to laugh or cry, overwhelmed with joy at the product of their forbidden love, but also horrified at the peak of their betrayal. Seeking tarot felt more like searching for someone to confess to. There was no real way out. The sister-in-law planned to lie. She would claim she had been abandoned by a man who vanished, and she would raise the child on her own as a single mom. Her family, being open-minded and loving, would support her. That was the hope, at least. But would they truly be okay? Because this ticking bomb is only waiting for the right moment to explode. As for what happened after, I honestly don't know, though I wish I did.